Welcome to Wednesday Night Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA, presented by Land Rover. It is Game 2 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Dodgers after an entertaining Game 1 last night. The 1-2. And he got him! Fly ball to right center field. Peterson and Puig both back on it. They come together. Puig catches it, but Peterson takes a hard blow, and Puig goes down to his knees as well. 100th pitch of the night is ball one, and it gets by Grandal, who still can't find it. Grichuk's gonna come home to tie the game. Line down the right field line, peeling into the corner. It's a fair ball. Piscotty digs it out. Hernandez headed home. That will do it. Logan Forsythe, in his first game back, is the hero. And so with that, the Dodgers have won 5 of 6, and we welcome you inside. Joe Davis with Oral Hershiser. Alana Rizzo joins us in just a moment. You saw the collision if you watched the game last night, and then in that package there, Jock Peterson, because of it, not in the starting lineup tonight, and Chris Taylor starts in center field for the first time in his career.
Chris Taylor's batted all over this batting order, very productive throughout the year, and actually pushes himself into the lineup and pushes himself into the outfield. Second base and shortstop are his most comfortable positions in the infield, so in the outfield, seeing the ball off the bat, center field is the most comfortable place, and that's where the Dodgers put him tonight.
For more on him, here's Alana.
Well, guys, Dave Roberts certainly feels more comfortable with the fact that Cody Bellinger and Yasiel Puig in that outfield are flanking Chris Taylor in center field. When I said communication certainly must be paramount, as the center fielder is the captain of the outfield, Dave Roberts says that he wants all of his guys to be vocal. He wants all of them to communicate, whether that's the center fielder, the shortstop, even the guy behind the plate, whether they're young or a veteran player. He said the advanced metrics and the scouting show that Chris Taylor is ready.
And hopefully ready to help Rich Hill out tonight, who takes the ball for the Dodgers against Mike Leake. We've got first pitch coming up on a gorgeous night in Los Angeles. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Land Rover, above and beyond. High above Dodger Stadium on a perfect night for baseball. Game 2 of this series between the Dodgers and the Cardinals after the Dodgers took the opener in 13 innings last night by a 2-1 score. And now they try to make it 6 wins out of their last 7 behind Rich Hill. Second game back for Logan Forsythe, the hero last night after he struck out in each of his first 4 at-bats. The game-winning double down the line in the 13th inning.
Fantastic way to come back. You start looking like you're going to have the golden sombrero, which you got with the 4 strikeouts, then mixed in a walk, and then placed that ball down the right field line with some power to win the game.
How about the Cardinals starting lineup, brought to you by Honda? Dexter Fowler to lead things off for Mike Matheny. Then it's Stephen Piscotty and Matt Carpenter. Jed Jerko hitting in the cleanup spot. Yadier Molina does the catching and bats 5th. Aledmys Diaz, the shortstop and 6-hitter, with Randall Grichuk in left hitting 7th, and Colton Wong making his first start of the series at 2nd. Rich Hill made his first start in the month on Tuesday at San Francisco last week and gave up just 1 run on a hanging curveball to Brandon Belt that he barely snuck out of the yard, but went 5 innings, threw 82 pitches, and no problems with that blister.
Really liked the way he threw the ball. He was aggressive. He was throwing strikes. 1 pitch doesn't make an outing. Right there, just the 1 blemish. But what I look for with Rich is continuing to get creative out there on the mound as he gets comfortable being back off the DL, now on 7 days rest, a few side works because the blister isn't irritated, but getting a chance to get back out there. And he wants to be on a regular turn in this rotation, so he's out there to really earn a spot.
Chris Taylor, we just talked about, started in center field tonight, so keep an eye on Chris. Taking a peek at that wristband, and you wonder what's going through his head as he gets ready to roam one of the largest outfields in baseball in center, which is so capably handled by Jock Peterson on most nights, and Jock has a way of making it look easy out there.
It'll be really good for him to get a few attempts out there and get comfortable, catch the ball with ease, and start to then feel like he can use his speed and athleticism to full potential, because the nerves and the little bit of tenderness out there could really kind of hamper the routes he runs.
So ready for baseball with the Dodgers at 27-19. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks have already won today, so the Dodgers in 3rd place, 3 games back of the Rockies in the West. Off we go as strike 1. Closed captioning tonight is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Fowler and the Cardinals trying to get things going at the top of the order. Oral, can you believe this? In the last 12 games, the Cardinals are 1 for 36 in the first inning.
It's not something you expect out of a Cardinal team with their pedigree.
Fowler smashes one into center, sending Taylor back at the track at the wall, and he leaps to catch it. The ball finds him, and he makes a splendid play on the 2nd pitch of the game.
Everybody was watching him step for step, the fans knowing, the teammates knowing, the coaching staff tipping their hat as they watch him crawl back to the wall, feeling, groping, where is it, and then jumping and getting this ball. Fantastic play by Chris Taylor.
I mean, what are the chances? 2nd pitch of your big league career in center field, and a ball is set to the 395 sign behind you.
One of the hardest balls for a center fielder to catch is the one directly at him, and that's why he's most comfortable to be in center field, because the play is directly in front of him. On the corners, it curves. Up the middle, it could just go over your head.
Stephen Piscotty bounces one to 3rd. A tough in-between bounce, picked by Forsythe. 2 out. I asked him before the game, what's the most difficult thing about playing the outfield? Because he's done it some. He's practiced there plenty. And he smiled, thought about it for a moment, and then said, Honestly, I'm not sure yet. Okay, we may find a thing or two out tonight. Matt Carpenter with the bases empty and 2 out. He bunts it. Easy play, Rich Hill. 1, 2, 3 go the Cardinals in the first inning. And Chris Taylor tested immediately. Comes up strong. Dodgers coming to bat after this. Come to bat for the first time after Chris Taylor's fantastic play in the first inning, and all smiles in that dugout greeting him.
Like he hit a home run.
Yeah, it is a similar reception. They should have given him the silent treatment. Yeah. Here's the lineup for the Dodgers, brought to you by Honda. Forsythe at the top of it again. And identical down through the middle with Taylor in center tonight instead of Jock Peterson, then Utley and Puig in front of Rich Hill. All against the man that was leading the National League in ERA before Clayton Kershaw spun his 9 innings last night. It's Mike Leake. Comes in with an ERA right around 2. His 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes.
Mike Leake's story is a good one. He has lowered his ERA almost more than anybody in baseball, over 2.5 points compared to last year. It's really about secondary stuff this year. His slider, his cutter, his changeup, and his curve. The league is hitting below 200 on all those pitches.
Started 8 games this year, all of them quality starts. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Forsythe. That's at least 6 innings and 3 or fewer runs allowed. The only pitcher that's done that. He's 29. He's from San Diego. Now in his 8th major league season. And he's worked it full.
Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Less than a strikeout an inning. But he is a guy who likes to work quick, get ground balls, and change speeds and directions.
Forsythe fouls it off. Still a full count. You mentioned one of the best improvements as far as earned run average from last year to this year, and that's true. But his ERA last year was inflated by some horrible defense. Forsythe fouls another. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Cardinals had one of the worst defenses in baseball, and it wasn't just errors, because that obviously wouldn't be reflected as heavily in an earned run average. The range wasn't good. They tried to address it by bringing in Fowler in center, getting some more continuity in the infield. Forsythe down on strikes for the first out of the game. Been a little bit better this year, but Mike Leake has also been better.
When you're not a big-time strikeout pitcher and the ball's being put in play, you can get really beat up by your own defense. And Those first and third situations, 1 hour, you expect to get the ground ball in the double play. You get the ground ball, but you don't get the double play. That tacks onto your ERA and your pitch count.
Here's Seager. There's ball one. Corey 0 for 4 in the opener last night. He did walk. And on this 1-0, he pulls a bouncing ball to second. Picked up by Colton Wong. 2 out.
Core's been swinging the bat well lately, but he slips on this one. Kind of gets on the side of his shoe, front and back. Hopefully that ankle is fine.
Mike Leake, one of the top ground ball rates in baseball, goes to work against Yasmani Grandal, who looks at ball one. First inning home run last night. That was it for the Dodgers until the game-winning run in the 13th inning. If you're a fan of offense, last night was not your game. The teams combined to go 7 for 83.
That's my kind of game.
Yeah. You pitchers. 2-1. I'm kind of the same way, though. I'll take a good pitcher's duel any day.
You know what? You can't leave to go to the concession stand in a pitcher's duel. You might miss the game.
Grandal bounces one inside the bag. Carpenter takes it to the bag, and a 1-2-3 first from Mike Leake. Out of the second, no score. Little off when Yasmani was at the plate, and then our production crew pointed out to us during the break he has the wrong helmet on. He has the helmet that protects him for a right-handed swing, and Justin Turner looking for this. He didn't realize it until then. Look at Gonzo.
Each half inning, we've had Chris Taylor with smiles out in center field catching the ball, and Yasmani, even on a ground out, people are getting a laugh. It's what happens when you win a 13-inning game last night. A little more relaxed.
Rich Hill back at it. Jed Jerko, the first man up there, looking at a curve that's in for strike one. This is midway through the at-bat. The dugout picks up on it. JT goes and grabs a correct one, and is sure to greet him with a laugh when he gets back. Ball and a strike. Say Justin's getting better every day with that strained hamstring, and they're hopeful that perhaps even on the upcoming road trip, Turner could be ready to go. Two and one.
Yasmani and Yadier Molina caught the whole game last night, all 13 innings. They deserve a little bit. You know, he doesn't have his mask on backwards. You know, it's just a helmet.
Right.
Yadi's got the right one on because he always hits from that side.
3-1. You're talking about the smiles that come from winning a 13-inning game. What happens when you lose a 13-inning game 3 times in a 5-game stretch? Because that's what St. Louis has done. Jerko leads off the second with a walk.
That's very frustrating. The thing that goes through a dugout when you get into extra innings is, come on guys, we don't get paid for overtime. Let's get this over. Let's get some runs right away. And sounds like they didn't get runs at all.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster season for them as Molina stands in. His Cardinals started the year 3-9. And it looked again like the Cubs would run away with it like they did last year. But then St. Louis ripped off an 18-6 stretch, best in the National League during that run before this stretch where they've gone 1-5. Strike one on Molina. 12-game hitting streak for the veteran catcher. The only guy in this Cardinals lineup that has faced Rich Hill. They're both together in the National League Central when Rich was with the Cubs. Last faced St. Louis in 2008. One ball and one strike.
Rich was actually a Cardinal at one time. But never made it to the big leagues with them, but he was in the organization.
That was in 2010 when he was coming back from shoulder surgery. Spent spring training with St. Louis, 3 months in AAA, then opted out of his contract and finished that year in Boston before having Tommy John the next year.
I like the fact that he looked down at his hand right there, especially after a ball that gets away. Looks like he's fine. Very competitive, shows his emotions on his sleeve. He will show you everything he's feeling out there on the mound, good or bad.
Two on one on Molina. Here comes Hill with a toss to first.
Most guys that vary their deliveries and their arm angles like Rich Hill does, they like to start out with their foundational deliveries and then branch off as they get around the second time around the order. But Rich Hill, he jumps right into it. He'll go over the top. He'll go 3/4. He'll go sidearm. He'll go quick leg kick, big leg kick right away, right from the very beginning. I'm not a big fan of what he's doing here with his shoulder in between pitches as he stretches to the sky there. Something I haven't seen very much of.
Goes to the fastball and Molina gets under it. A golf shot to center. Chris Taylor steadies his feet, makes the catch. 1 out.
When I said I wasn't a big fan of the stretching, it's just is something bothering him in his rib cage, his shoulder, down that left side, that he keeps needing to stretch it after throwing pitches. Usually you see guys do that maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th inning, but as they start to tighten up, but this early.
Runner at first, one gone, and Aledmys Diaz the hitter. Diaz a double against Kershaw last night. That came in the 7th. And in a critical spot, Cardinals were unable to bring him in to tie the game. They didn't get their only run until the 9th inning when Randal Grichuk scored all the way from second on a wild pitch. Starting pitching's been fantastic for St. Louis, but the offense not so much. Below league average when it comes to the bottom line, runs per game. That's a curve for a strike. Only the third one that he's found the zone with out of the first 8 that he's thrown.
You know, so much is made of the Cardinals offense, but little is made about how great the Dodger pitching is. You know, number 1 in the big leagues in ERA. The bullpen is fantastic. The starting rotation, even though there's the controversy around the 10-day DL and 7 starters. And I'm not sure it's even a controversy other than a subject, because they have so many guys that deserve to be in the rotation. Clayton Kershaw is definitely leading the pack. The guy there in front of him, Brandon McCarthy, with his head down, and then Alex Wood right there. They are doing a number on the National League as far as their earned run average and helping this Dodger team win.
2-1.
I wouldn't think the Cardinals come in here thinking, oh, we're going to get a lot of runs off this staff. We're going to have to play some tight games and pitch really well and find a way to score. Audi pitch cast there with a curveball at 73.
Three and one. Hill still searching. Fastball and curveball. Erratic here in the second. Jerko started the inning with a walk. He leads at first, and there's another walk. So first and second against Hill with 1 out.
And Rich is missing on the arm side, mostly high, with the breaking balls that don't finish and the fastballs up. So he needs to recognize his pattern and try and make an adjustment.
Yeah, with 2 on, it's Randall Grichuk. Hill didn't walk anybody in the start against San Francisco last week. Did hit a batter, but no walks. 2 of them here in the second.
And when Rich falls behind in the count, you can't just expect fastball from him. He has one of the largest percentage of breaking balls behind in the count of anybody in baseball. But right now, he's struggling to find either one for a strike. I've seen him get that pitch right there. And there's some chirping coming from the Dodger dugout that you can hear from our field mics. I think the main line coming out of there was, that ball's not high.
Now 1-0. And that misses as well. 2 balls and no strikes on Grichuk.
Got to get through those pitches a little bit more as he lands and continue through his mechanics through his landing leg, kind of popping out of it.
Gets a pop up here, but Grandal running out of room. That'll reach the seats, and it's 2-1. Randall Grichuk, 4 home runs this season for him. That's a little bit low when you consider the kind of power that this guy has. Up and down last year between the majors and AAA, which was a disappointment for a guy who really broke in impressively a few seasons back. 2 on with 1 out, and a scoreless game in the second inning. And a 2-1 from Hill to Grichuk. That's strike 2.
There's a turn down in energy when your pitcher on the mound is struggling to throw strikes, to make pitches. It's harder to play defense behind because you see the signal if you're Corey Seager, Chase Utley, and sometimes you'll relay that to other guys on the corner so they can get a better jump. But when you're missing your spot, it really doesn't matter if you even know what pitch is coming as a defender.
Nowhere close with that one, and the count is full. 19 pitches in this inning, and he's only thrown 5 strikes.
He's fortunate to not giving up any runs or to not have a bigger problem in first and second, 1 out, and a 3-2 count. The ball didn't feel good in his hand, and it's an important pitch. Don't pull the trigger until you're ready.
Walk Jerko, walk Diaz, and a 3-2. He walks Grichuk. So the Cardinals have loaded them up here in the second inning without the benefit of a base hit. And you see Dave Roberts looking really closely at Rich Hill, wondering what is ailing him.
Well, here comes Rick Honeycutt to get the personal version. Rich Hill was done with the meeting with Yasmani, then called him back out, and now here comes Rick Honeycutt. Rick is a very good listener at the beginning of this meeting, and then will give a suggestion, I'm sure, near the end. One of the best bedside manners in the big leagues. One of the most successful, if not the best pitching coach in the big leagues.
Numbers would say he is.
For sure.
I think the most amazing number is 4. That's how many managers he's been with here in LA. All that turnover, they've all wanted him to remain. All right, big spot here early in the game with the bases loaded. Colton Wong takes ball 1. 8-hitter for the Cardinals, 280 this year. It's been a career year offensively for the Hawaii native who waits on this 1-0. Frisbee's outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
He's searching even with the deliveries now, trying the different arm angles just to find one that's comfortable that he can find the strike zone with.
Line to left center field, a base hit. Bellinger plays it off a bounce. His throw is wide of third, and a 2-run single for Colton Wong has opened the scoring.
Well, you set the table. Most pitchers give up almost a hit an inning in the big leagues, and there hasn't been one yet, but now there is, and it was with bases loaded because you set the table for the Redbirds. Backed into a fastball situation. Cardinals knowing you can't really throw or make pitches.
And it's almost like facing an American League lineup when Mike Leake is hitting. One of the best hitting pitchers in baseball over the years. Showed bunt, took a ball, and home plate umpire Rob Drake and Rich Hill exchanging words.
Well, Rich reacted to this because as soon as it crosses the plate, he thinks it's a strike, and he verbally says, and it is right there. I mean, Rob Drake got that one wrong, and he'll realize it after the game when he watches his tape.
2-0. And of course, the word popping into everybody's head right now is blister. Wondering if there's something bothering him again in that regard. It's a strike, and it's 2-1.
He threw a strike, and he gets a jeer from the crowd, but that pitch still, even though it was in the strike zone, was not his delivery he's looking for. He threw that one like a dart, which means he has a very small area where he can throw a strike.
Spun it foul, and it's 2-2. Three walks and a hit in the inning. The Cardinals have already doubled their run total from the series opener. A 2-2. Nowhere close. Full count.
I mean, you're almost a full beat early in your delivery when your mistakes are up there. especially when you're pitching to a pitcher and you're just trying to throw a high fastball down the middle.
His 30th pitch of the second inning is fouled back by Leake. And just the look on his face, not necessarily a look of pain. It's just kind of a look of exasperation.
It sure is. And there's almost a little flinch in there when he lands and comes to the moment of truth.
Troubled almost. Another 3-2. It's in, ball 4. They're loaded again. The fourth walk of the inning issued by Hill. This one comes against the opposing pitcher and sends it back to the top of the order, Dexter Fowler.
It's not close with Rob Drake's strike zone, but let's see what PitchCast said. And I thought it was very close. I mean, a liberal strike zone, you get those pitches, but as we say with some pitchers that have control, they earn those borderline strikes. Well, Rich Hill hasn't earned anything here today as far as getting strikes called.
He's walked 4 in this inning alone. His career high for the game is 5, and Dexter Fowler watches one miss badly, ball 1. Fowler flied to the wall in center his first time. Little jam shot, short right field. Utley goes out and makes a basket catch. Boy, Rich Hill desperately needed a friend right there, and he found one in Chase Utley. 2 out.
Let's take a look at the Volkswagen replay right here. We've had a ball by Chris Taylor caught over his head in center field. Now Chase Utley with even more difficult catch, running to a spot, looking up, finding the ball, picked the right spot, grabbed it with 2 hands, and quickly got it in to the middle of the infield.
And if there's a way for Rich Hill to get out of this inning with just 2 runs allowed, it feels like a huge victory. 2-hitter Stephen Piscotty swings and misses at the first sharp breaking ball we've seen.
That's the breaking ball that the Dodgers signed to a long-term contract right there.
Back-to-back strikes with it.
Get a play like that behind you by Chase Utley, maybe it relaxes you a little bit. Maybe it gives you a little hope. All of a sudden, the last 2 are a little bit more free and easy.
And it'll be, I think, telling to watch Hill's reaction if he's able to get out of this inning. You see the signature emotion or something else. And he gets Piscotty swinging with a fastball. They get 2, but only 2, leaving the bases loaded. night was full of historical nuggets. We look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact. Dodgers only 3 hits in that 2-1 win in the 13-inning game. It was only the 3rd time since 1913 that they've won an extra innings game with 3 or fewer hits. Happen to have a superhuman guy pitching, Clayton Kershaw, giving the offense time to get that second run as Cody Bellinger takes ball 1. Lance Lynn was just as good as Kershaw last night. In fact, it was the 3rd time in that same span, so you go back to the early 1900s, the 3rd time that 2 pitchers had 10+ Ks and gave up 3 or fewer hits. The 3rd time period.
That's remarkable, and he did go toe-to-toe with Clayton Kershaw. The one swing from Yasmani Grandal, the home run to center field. Other than that, he was very close to being really almost perfect, both of them.
Bellinger had 3 and 1. Other 2 instances happened in 1994, happened in 1970. That's a missile, base hit on the ground to right. Bellinger clobbers a pitch to lead off the second with a single.
First baseman number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Hitting 280 coming into this at bat, and those big swings, he never really has a 2-strike count, and he absolutely laced that ball through. Step and a dive is just not enough to get that ball hit that hard.
Leadoff man on, and here's Gonzalez. Adrian in his career against Leake only 2 hits and 14 tries.
Left-handers rarely swing and miss off of Mike Leake. They usually put it in play, but when they put it in play, it's on the ground.
And that was the thing last year. You know, Leake is this ground ball machine. Normally that's desirable, but when your defense is a disaster at turning those ground balls into outs, that's where you get an ERA that doesn't necessarily reflect the way that you're pitching. The 1-0. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
But you can't reinvent yourself and make yourself into a strikeout pitcher just because you have a bad defense. You've got to just stay with your strengths, and because most people that take the mound want to start out as a strikeout pitcher, and usually are through the amateur ranks and through college and then finally in the minor leagues, but the big leagues turns you into a ground ball pitcher.
Generous corner, 2-1.
All of a sudden your fastball is not strong enough to get a lot of swings and misses. Your breaking ball might not be sharp enough, so you go, okay, more 2-seamers, more breaking balls, just keeping them down, get the ball hit on the ground. I'll get my strikeouts when I can, but that's not my game.
Should be 2. There's 1 and 2. So 4-6-3 double play wipes him clean, and 2 away in the second. Not just yet, guys.
Number 3, Chris Taylor.
Chris Taylor comes up. With the Cardinals in front 2-0 here in the last of the second. As streaks often do, his ended when he came in as a pinch hitter last night and went 0 for 2. It's the first time since late April that he hadn't reached. Strike 1.
Dave Roberts always hits his pitcher 9th. Chris Taylor has hit in every position except for 3rd and 4th in this Dodger lineup. So after tonight, you can say he's hit everywhere in the lineup, and he's played everywhere in the lineup now that he's playing in the outfield also.
What a great story he'll always have to be able to tell. Yeah, I played center field in the 2nd pitch of my career there. Guy crushed the ball to the wall, and I caught it. 1 and 2.
Somewhere in the future, after he retires and Dexter Fowler retires, they will laugh about that. They will see each other at a charity dinner or something.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Mike Leake, former Arizona State Sun Devil, top 10 overall pick. Home with a 2-2. Taylor down swinging, and the Dodgers finished in the second.
Presented by Cardinals. We showed the players some photos and asked them to come up with a hashtag. Let's see what they came up with for this photo.
In the second inning, but could have been a whole lot worse. And in anywhere he walked 4 and was not pleased with the strike zone from Rob Drake.
Rob Drake's been in the big league since 2010. Right there, they're kind of barking at each other. In between innings, though, they had a little conversation. Rob brought him the ball and probably talked a little bit about showing each other up and borderline pitches and what you have for lunch and where do you want to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think he got that far.
Okay, here's Matt Carpenter looking at a ball.
Well, I tip my cap to Rob Drake for going out there and getting on the same page with Rich so it doesn't escalate. Actually helps the Dodgers more than the Cardinals, I think, to know that they've talked it out.
That's a strike. It's 1-1. Hill needed only 5 pitches to work a 1-2-3 first inning, and then threw 36 in the second. Two and 1. 37 years old, out of Milton, Massachusetts. He's pitched for 8 different teams and signed his first big long-term free agent deal this offseason. Largest deal for any free agent pitcher this offseason. Starting pitcher, that is. Falls behind Carpenter 3-1. Andrew Friedman said that they had the confidence to bet on Hill after being around him for those 2 months. That he ranks as high as anybody in his innate burning desire to win and be great every time that he takes it. He walks Carpenter to start the third. RBI Baseball 2017 returns with fast-paced pick up and play MLB action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Go to RBI.com or RBIGame.com to learn more. Former West Virginia Mountaineer Jed Jerko swings at a fastball, dumps it back, strike 1. Jerko drew the first walk last inning and came in to score the first run. He's now reached in 15 of his last 16 games. What a find he's been for St. Louis. Bangs a breaking ball into center for a base hit.
Jerko, one of the first 4 right-handed hitters that'll face Rich Hill here after that base hit. And I'll tell you what, Ross Stripling is throwing in the bullpen in earnest. And I think they're not going to have a very long rope with Rich. Second time he's been up. Last inning, yep, and here we go.
Well, a lot of times, or when a guy has a night like this, you realize it too late. But the Dodgers have a chance here still to save the night, bringing in a guy like Ross Stripling who can do that.
They sure do. And this bullpen is fantastic. Dave Roberts going out there has a little personality as he's talking to Rich. It looks like he's going to hang with him, but I think he tried to fire him up. I've had some Tommy Lasorda speeches as he comes to the mound and kind of tries to wake you up, give you a little different brain chemistry.
Switches you from one side of the brain to the other.
Yeah, and a lot of times you just kind of make sure you don't wipe your face while he's talking. You wait till he leaves the mound.
Yeah. Two on, nobody out. Yadier Molina. Fastball away. It's 1-0. You know, Dave Roberts, such a mild-mannered, sweet guy. But Dave will get after you. This is a guy who has the ability to be tough. He's not just all smiles. 1-1. Happened last year in Chicago. Dodgers were playing poorly. Early on in June, Dave really got after him for the first time. Got after Yasmani Grandal a little bit in late April. We've talked about how that's helped turn around his season. And that didn't look like a very friendly chat with Rich Hill there either. Curve catches the inside edge and puts him ahead of Molina 1-2.
You got a pitcher on the mound upset with the strike zone. Now you got a catcher on the opposing team in the batter's box upset with the strike zone. Never fun for an umpire behind home plate when a pitcher is erratic.
Yanked down the left field line and foul.
Huge batter in this game and a huge batter for Rich Hill. He's on a very short leash now.
Molina barely gets a piece of that breaking ball, and it stays at 1-2.
Best back-to-back-to-back breaking balls that he's thrown in the game. 53 pitches in, and he finally found a breaking ball he could repeat. And it is no fun to go through what he's going through right now. It is work.
Two and two. Molina, spring training 2010, caught Rich Hill. Rich was in spring training with the Cardinals and then spent a few years in their minor league system. Never did crack the majors with them, though. Towering fly ball to right. Yasiel Puig sprints under it. There's the first out.
Rich Hill breathes a sigh of relief, and so does Dave Roberts, I think. And a little inspirational talk and making the decision to leave him in there.
Last night's game, 13 innings, but the bullpen only worked 3 or 4 and only gave up 1 hit over those 4 innings. Thanks to Clayton Kershaw's 9 innings in that one. Settled for a no decision, though. 2 on with 1 out, and Aledmys Diaz looks at one that crosses Grandal up. He finally finds it in time to throw down to second, where they have Jerko hung up. He's tagged out. And Jerko and Utley, not the most gentle of exchanges there on that tag.
Well, Chase Utley does a great job getting this rundown over early. He doesn't do it the conventional way when after the rundown starts, he decides to get out of it and let Corey Seager get involved. He stays involved because it's the shorter throw right now with a man on third. He backs up and stays involved. And he pushes Jerko off of him because he wants to be able to be free and be able to throw the ball if he can. You don't want to get tied up by the runner you've just tagged out.
Jerko looked like took a little bit of exception to that. A chance for Rich Hill to get out of this inning with no damage done. Here's a 1-0 to Diaz. Ball 2.
That all happened because there was a little bit of a cross-up between Rich Hill and Yasmani Grandal. He just kind of swatted at that curveball as it got away from him. It looked like it was sitting near a chalk line there at home plate where it was hiding from him.
Some of the thinnest chalk lines in baseball here at Dodger Stadium. A little bit harder to get lost on these.
Rob Drake helping out Yasmani Grandal and Rich Hill right there as it hit his left shin guard.
3-1. I know I squeezed you a little bit in the second inning, Rich. I'm going to block this one with my shin for you. Ball 4. Didn't miss by much. Same pitch that Hill wanted last inning. He's now walked a career high 6 over 2 2/3.
Rob Drake now is, after he calls the ball, he's actually turning his head pretty quickly to not let Rich get himself in trouble. This is borderline high, and I think Rob right there, he just looks away. You see, he calls it ball and just kind of looks away. He doesn't want to see the reaction on the mound. He knows there's a lot of frustration out there. That's a great move by a veteran umpire. Understand his role and understand what Rich Hill's trying to do and that he's competing.
Carpenter at third, Diaz at first, Grichuk the hitter. Hill comes home. Grichuk swings and misses at a fastball, strike 1. He's drawn one of the 6 walks in this game, something he doesn't do very often. High homer, high strikeout guy. Another fastball and another strike.
Rich Hill's the 3rd hitter in the next inning, and I would be surprised if he doesn't get hit for. Maybe two out, nobody on. Maybe Dave lets him continue. But I would think with anybody on, even with 1 out, I think he's going to probably get taken out. Stripling is still up behind him.
Try to get him to climb the ladder. Grichuk leaves it, ball 1.
One of the lowest batting averages, if not the lowest batting average in the upper quadrants of the strike zone. Rich Hill was last year with his breaking ball, with his fastball. I think it was 103 that hitters hit off of him up in the strike zone because of the curveball and the fastball.
Pulls it through the back door to strike out Grichuk. And it is a minor miracle that through 3 innings, Rich Hill's allowed 2 hits and walked 6 and allowed just 2 runs. runs through the first 3 innings, despite Rich Hill struggling to find his way. Time now for the Mini Countryman player profile. Chase Utley was sitting below 100 over the first 24 games of the season. But then on an afternoon here at Dodger Stadium, hit during Brandon McCarthy's sim game. And it's been a different guy since. That's ball 1 from Mike Leake. This was on a day where he was starting later that night. Volunteered to hit in the sim game for McCarthy. This is in an empty stadium at about 2:30 in the afternoon. And got 6 free at-bats. Treated him like they were big league game at-bats. Inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Dave Roberts said he'd never seen a veteran do that on a day where he's starting. And Chase Utley has pointed back to that as a turning point for his season. Colton Wong. 1 out. Now, moments ago, Rich Hill.
Right field, number 66, Yasiel Puig.
I'm glad he did that with his right hand. Keep the pitching hand out of the anger situations.
Here's Puig, first at bat of the night. Shows bunt, takes a ball. Here he is on the on deck circle. Two and out. I mean, I would have bet a good amount of money that Dave Roberts was going to take him out when he went out there. Hard hit off of Jerko to Diaz. Picks and throws to get Puig. 5-6-3. Puig the second out of the inning.
Number 44, Rich.
Ball is scalded to Hopper right there and just deflects in the exact right spot for the St. Louis Cardinals and spot for frustration for Yasiel Puig.
Those are the ground balls that were turning into hits and errors last year around Mike Leake. It's a ball on Rich Hill. Ball was hit at 111 miles per hour off of the bat of Puig.
We've talked about it where 95 is graded as a hard hit ball. That was one of the harder hit balls.
Get that one at a launch angle above about 15 and sayonara. 2-1. Hill without a hit so far this year. Two balls, 2 strikes. Leake has faced the minimum once through the order. Cardinals with a 2-0 lead into the middle innings at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the Ram 1500 Rebel. Experience the power and toughness of Ram at your local dealer. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the new guacamole and bacon chicken sandwich only at Jack in the Box. Longtime executive Larry McPhail on the left. Branch Rickey on the right, who is obviously most notable for being the guy that helped integrate baseball, bringing Jackie Robinson to the Dodgers, and I think because of that is most thought about as a Dodger, but actually spent most of his career in St. Louis. He played, he was a GM, he managed the St. Louis Browns franchise. They eventually moved to Baltimore, became the Orioles. The St. Louis Cardinals franchise, Rickey managed them. He was the GM for them for more than 2 decades. Colton Wong leads off the 4th for St. Louis in a 2-0 game. And Rich Hill throws a fastball that's bunted back to him. Gets it out of his glove in time, and on one pitch, he has the first out of the inning. Now, Rickey in the 1920s in St. Louis created baseball's first farm system. The reason was the Cardinals at the time didn't have a ton of money in the organization. They weren't backed real well by ownership. So first of all, they couldn't make a bid for the best players, couldn't sign them. They couldn't pay enough scouts to go uncover any hidden gems. So basically they just got the scrap heap. Ball one on Mike Leake. And the farm system became a way for Rickey's organization to develop that scrap heap and kind of weed the guys out that weren't any good. Use it as a proving grounds for guys that were. Everybody else eventually followed suit. Rickey left the Cardinals for the Dodgers in 1942. 2-1 on Leake. Dodgers had come after Branch Rickey before that in the 1930s, but everything was perfect for him in St. Louis at the time and didn't want to leave a good situation. They had soured enough though in the 1940s where he said, okay, I've had enough here in St. Louis, going to jump over to Brooklyn. Was there for close to a decade, brought Jackie Robinson into the game. That's what he'll be remembered for most. Full count on Leake, who walked his first time against Hill.
Everybody's heard the 2 phrases, the Cardinal way to play baseball and the Dodger way to play baseball. They're the only 2 organizations that have that phrase. I think it came from Branch Rickey.
Hill gets his 3rd strikeout. I know you and I have both read through Branch Rickey's Little Blue Book.
Yep.
That's a fun. It's hard to call it a read just because of the way it's set up. It's like little blurbs. A guy went back and, researched all of. Rickey had these notebooks that he would keep, record all of his thoughts in, and a guy transcribed a lot of those. Some of his speaking engagements, transcribed notes from there. Just a lot of little great tidbits. Branch Rickey's Little Blue Book. It's a strike on Fowler.
And it wasn't all about baseball. Some
Right.
about investments and real estate. A lot of wisdom in there.
One ball and 2 strikes. And Rich Hill settling in here in the 4th. And perhaps making Dave Roberts look smart for leaving him in the game last inning when things were teetering on the brink of his night ending. He gets Fowler. 1-2-3 to the Cardinals in the 4th. On to the bottom half in a 2-0 game.
2-0 bottom of the fourth. Logan Forsythe leading this one off. An update for you on left-hander Hyunjin Ryu, who threw on flat ground today. And Dave Roberts said that's pretty much all he's going to be doing for the time being. Would not commit to the next time that Hyunjin Ryu would actually make a start, guys. He's not on the disabled list, currently on that roster, but no set time for an outing. We do, however, have the rotation for the upcoming Cubs series. Of course, Kenta Maeda is supposed to get activated tomorrow for the final game of this series. And then the Cubs come into town. Alex Wood will throw on Friday. Brandon McCarthy will get game 2. And Clayton Kershaw, the second time on this homestand as well, will pitch on Sunday.
Other side of that, Alana, Arrieta, Lackey, Lester for the Cubs. 2 balls, no strikes on Logan Forsythe. Struck out his first time up. See if he gets one to drive on 2-0 instead of foul ball, and it's 2-1. So heck of a matchup in the opener, Arrieta and Wood. And then how about Sunday? John Lester, Clayton Kershaw.
It's like playoff baseball all over again. Be the only times the Cubs come to visit Dodger Stadium.
Stroked on a humpback line to center, caught by Fowler. Take a look at the Land Rover Performance Spotlight. It's a fun one on Clayton Kershaw. He's had more 3-0 counts as a hitter than he's had against him on the mound this year. The 1-3-0 count, Nick Hundley of the Giants.
He attacks, and he's got tremendous command. And the passion and the commitment on every single pitch will keep you out of those 3-0 counts, and he can do it.
It's a strike on Seager.
His statistics are like video game. They're better than video game.
Video game set on beginner.
You pretty much would have to buy a video game of MLB and say nobody can use Kershaw.
Seager checks on Carpenter. Feeding Leak. 2 out. It's like a creative player. You know, you turn everything up to 99.
Yeah. Command, got it. Movement, got it. Slider location. Competitiveness. Endurance. All of it.
And then you'd put some sweet wristbands on him. Make him like 7 feet tall. Now Osmani's got the right helmet this time. Batting with the bases empty and 2 gone here in the 4th inning. And watching one dip low for ball 1. One night after the Dodgers scored 2 runs on only 3 hits over 13 innings, they've been held to 1 hit against Leak. 1-1. Lone hit, a Cody Bellinger single to open the second, but he was erased quickly by a double play, and so Leak has faced the minimum. Might even choose hair like that if you're creating a player on a video game. 1-2. Wanted that one, won't get it. Count evens on Yasmani.
How about when you're on playing a video game and the player does something well like 3-4 times in a row, and all of a sudden he's on fire or flames?
NBA
Clayton would be like
style.
that for 9 innings.
Grandal down swinging, and another 1-2-3 inning from Mike Leake. 2-0 through 4. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Toyota time is going on now. Get incredible deals on a fuel-efficient RAV4 hybrid.
2-0 back here at Dodger Stadium. Take a look at some of that beautiful memorabilia. I did not think we would still see this man on the mound at this point. 5 pitches in the first, then 36 and 23 to get through the third, and only 11 the last inning. Ross Stripling behind him in the bullpen is up for 75 pitches, working in the fifth, and only down 2-0. I think that is a great accomplishment for Rich Hill.
2, 3, and 4 coming up for St. Louis in this inning. Stephen Piscotty to lead it off. Takes ball one. Ran into Dieter Rule, Dodger Stadium organist, between innings, and for whatever reason he likes to listen to us during the games while he's up there playing, and he said he was going to do the Pac-Man theme when he heard us talking about video games. Just needed a foul ball, and didn't get the foul ball to get it in. He's hiding back there. Hi, Dieter.
We need to patch him into our headsets when he plays.
DJ Severe in there as well. (3-0) on Piscotty.
Dieter play at the Kings games also?
Yep.
Yeah.
I told him I'm so fascinated because he always plays the anthem along with the performer.
Right.
It's a 4-pitch walk to Piscotty to open the fifth, and everybody does it at a different tempo, a different speed, and Dieter is always in lockstep with them. He adjusts his anthems to match whoever's doing the singing. Isn't that hard? But for people that are musicians like Dieter, it's just kind of second nature, I guess, to be able to, hear it at the same time and pump out your own tunes at the same pace.
Dieter's got like Mike Leake hair.
He does.
Got the Leake. I don't want to put a St. Louis cap on him, but
he does kind of look like Leake.
He is got a little leak in him.
Okay. I did run into him in the bathroom. That's bunted by third, and a fair ball.
Now you were the topper there, not me.
Carpenter bunts for a single. 2 on, nobody out here in the fifth. Yeah, for once in my life, I topped you in the inappropriate category.
It's all right. You're human.
Jed Jerko. And Ross Stripling has started to warm again down in the Dodger bullpen. This is not going to be a deep outing for Hill, but when you consider everything, it feels more impressive that he's pitching here in the fifth inning. Looked like he may not escape the second. Sweeps one in for a strike on Jerko.
It's been a battle out there for him, and it would be a definite win if he can get out of this jam and go 5 and only give up 2 with the command that he's had and the difficulty he's had with Rob Drake behind home plate.
Jerko pulls a base hit to left. Piscotty had to wait to watch it get through, but Bellinger overruns the ball. And disaster strikes on this one. The Cardinals lead 4-0. Jerko's safe at third.
The base hit is tough enough for Rich Hill and the Dodgers, but then the error by Cody Bellinger, this would have been bases loaded, no out. But that right there turns it into 2 runs and a man on third and no out. And we'll find out as the inning progresses with another pitcher, Ross Stripling, how many of those will be earned runs.
So responsibility. This was not an easy night for him. There's 7 walks, a career high. Who's in, who's out? Brought to you by In-N-Out. Hill is out. Ross Stripling is in.
Ross Stripling, one of the saviors of this pitching staff, whether they're going to ask him to be a long reliever, a middle reliever, or even possibly be in there at the end if Kenley Jansen's already been used. They are comfortable using him in any place. This is early, but this is necessary because this game is still in the balance. Only 4-0 in the middle innings. So we're going to look to strand that runner at third and come in and get some offense.
Molina to hit. Nobody out. Jerko is standing down at third. Infield comes in halfway for Dave Roberts. Molina, who is twice flied out today, takes strike 1.
Usually pinching the infield in halfway will shut down the contact play for the offense here with no out. They'll make the ball get through, so you don't want to come all the way in and give the angles up. Come halfway and change the strategy of the man on third.
Stripling left that one over the plate. That'll be deep enough to get Jerko headed for home as Puig loads up and guns it in that direction and somehow still gets it there around the same time Jerko does. And all Jerko can do is smile at the effort from Puig. Molina with an RBI sac fly in a 5-0 game. "99% of the time the best arm on the field is on the mound." Right now it's in right field. And that's no knock on Ross Stripling.
That is not.
Aledmys Diaz, like Puig, hails from Cuba. Takes ball 1. Diaz in his second season in the majors. He came over from Cuba in 2012. (2-0). He was playing in a tournament in the Netherlands with Team Cuba. Packed a small backpack, snuck out of the hotel, and made his way to Mexico. And so he thought that he was right on the verge of signing, but there were issues with a birth date on his official paperwork, so Major League Baseball banned him from signing for a year and a half. So Diaz went almost 2 full years without playing in a real game while he lived in Mexico and waited for that ban to get lifted so he could try out for big league teams. 2-2. Cardinals went down, scouted him a bunch. They had 7 different scouts go to file reports based on his workouts because obviously a unique challenge where they can't watch the guy play in games. It's all based off workouts. He's the first Cuban that St. Louis ever signed. 4 years, $8 million. Tries to lay off a fastball and does. Full count. Won the starting shortstop job last year out of spring training because of injuries they had there. Hit .423 in his first month in the majors, and that sparked him on to an all-star appearance.
Down 5-0. The Dodger offense has averaged 6 runs a game in May. So this is not too big a deficit.
That's smashed into left center. Base hit. Taylor hustles over to cut it off. Diaz headed to second. Here's the throw. It's late. Now Aledmys Diaz has his second double in as many nights in this series.
A fielder.
A high fastball hits the target, but a better swing than pitch. And Chris Taylor doing a nice job out there in center field, shagging some fly balls and getting this ball in the infield accurately. Kind of like when he was a middle infielder at shortstop right there, going to the hole and then throwing back across the diamond.
Grichuk bats with a runner at second, 1 out, a 5-0 game. Cardinals trying to even this series at a game apiece. Enter the day in second in the Central, game and a half back of the Milwaukee Brewers. Strike one. Cardinals hoping to get back to the postseason. Last year they missed the playoffs for the first time in 6 years, finishing a game out of the wild card. 9 division titles, 9 NLCS trips since 2000. Brought home world championships in 06 and 2011. It's world championship number 10 and number 11 for a franchise that's won more than every other franchise besides the Yankees and their 27 titles. Tripling home 0-2 to get Grichuk with a breaking ball for out number 2.
Justin Turner and Adrian Gonzalez, they are baseball's dynamic duo when it comes to selfies. Join us Tuesday, June 6th against the Nationals when the first 40,000 fans will receive a Justin Turner bobblehead. Then complete the set with Adrian Gonzalez bobblehead during Game 2 of the bobbleheader on September 6th, presented by State Farm. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
The bobbleheader this year, huh?
Yeah. Split bobbleheader.
Day night.
No, June 6th and September 6th. So
that's splitting it.
Separated by months.
1 ball and no strikes on Colton Wong. (2-0). Before this inning, Wong had brought home the only runs of the game with a 2-run single in the second. (3-0).
No pitcher on deck, down 5-0. No real reason to deal with Wong, and Dave Roberts makes that decision easy for Ross Stripling.
Pitcher number 8, Mike Lee.
Brings up Leake, who walked and struck out against Hill. Dieter Rule doppelganger. Mike Leake. Nothing in 1. Stripling gets a fastball by him. Leake, a good athlete, reflected in his hitting. He was a forced sport guy in high school. Played point guard on the basketball team. He's a DB on the football team. Played soccer, and of course baseball. Takes outside, and it's 1-1. Before going on to Arizona State, where he starred for the Sun Devils and was drafted 8th overall by the Cincinnati Reds in 2009. Two on with 2 out and a 1-1 pitch. It's fouled back, 1-2.
I think that double by Diaz will make all the runs against Rich Hill earned. Sack fly would have scored 1 with bases loaded, no out, if that would have been the situation because of the error, and then a double Could have cleared Rich Hill's runners.
Stripling with a pair of strikeouts in the inning to limit the damage. The Cardinals do get 3 halfway home in a 5-0 game. All new episode of Backstage Dodgers tomorrow. The squad takes a tour of Lucasfilm's animation studio, and you can get an inside look at Adrian Gonzalez's first rehab assignment at the minors. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Hankook Tires, 5:30 tomorrow on Sportsnet LA. Adrian bought him a couple meals while he was down there. Got him steak the first night. Was going to get it for him again the second night, but there was some kind of mix-up with the restaurant, so instead they went P.F. Chang's night 2. Cody Bellinger has the lone Dodger hit against Mike Leake. Takes ball 1. Tailing fastball evens the count. Same pitch, same result.
When you're throwing your fastball and you're getting left-handed hitters to kind of almost duck out of the way and it's a called strike, you know it has great movement. We've seen him get backed into fastball counts, fall behind hitters, and then they just foul tip the ball, hit the top of it. They don't even put it in play for a ground out. It's sinking so much that they can only just foul tip it.
Colton Wong in front of this one. Bellinger the first out of the 5th. How much did you read hitters' reactions to tell you how good your stuff was on a given night?
For sure, all the time. If you think you're keeping the ball down well, but you can't see the movement because your head's bobbing out there on the mound a little bit, just see how they foul it off. The other way is watch your catcher's glove, because if your sinker is really heavy, it's really hard to hold it still as they catch it. You'll see a little flash. They won't be able to firmly keep it in the strike zone sometimes. I liked my catcher's glove. Mike Scioscia did a great job at this, others too, but have the target slightly lower than the strike zone.
That ball's pounded down the right field line. Loud crack of the bat from Adrian Gonzalez. A 1-out double. Haven't heard that sound off that bat too much this year, but a familiar sound for much of his career.
Well, let's take it slow-mo with Kona. Just to start off on this replay, this slow motion sweet swing of Adrian Gonzalez. And Adrian got the crowd back into this too. They were kind of in slow-mo with no action from the Dodger offense, but that got their hands moving.
Brings up Chris Taylor in a 5-0 game here in the 5th inning. Strike one. Trying to do something nobody's done against Mike Leake this year. That is score more than 3 runs. 8 starts, all of them quality starts. One and one. Leake in his 2nd year in St. Louis. Mentioned that he was drafted by Cincinnati. First 5+ years there, but then was traded to San Francisco. Remember, this guy was a Giant for a few months towards the end of 2015. Taylor hits it foul, and it's 1-2. And the Giants may regret that deal because Leake spent most of his time in San Francisco hobbled, hamstring issue, hardly even pitched for him. The Giants gave up Adam Duvall to get him. Duvall turned into one of the top home run hitters in the NL last year. Got in on him. We'll do the 1-2 again.
Chris Taylor playing center field today, but it's his bat that got him the different options to play in the field. Just too productive to leave out of the lineup. Have to find a place for him. Easy to find a place in the batting order for him. It's been a little harder now with Logan Forsythe getting healthy. Chase Utley swinging the bat better to get him into the infield. So Dodgers slipping him into center field with the collision between Puig and Peterson yesterday.
Second time he's down on strikes. 2nd out of the 5th.
Number 26, Chase Utley.
Up to Utley to try and break the scoring seal here in the 5th inning. Cardinals getting 2 in the 2nd, 3 in the 5th. All of them charged to Rich Hill. This is where Mike Leake has been at his best this year. Opponents with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. 0 for 18. That's part of how you get an ERA that leads the National League, which his now does, passing Clayton Kershaw with his 4 2/3 and nothing against him. 2-0.
Clayton was at 2.01 coming into this game and still is. And Leake was at 2.03, so 2 outs into it with no runs. Leake passed Clayton and has now passed him by a good 1/10 of a point.
So 186 right now. A 2-0. And a bouncing ball that stopped at first by Carpenter to finish the Dodgers off in the 5th. 1-out double, but nothing to show for it. 5 shutout innings from Mike Leake. A 5-0 St. Louis lead as we move on to the 6th inning. And we welcome inside Joe Davis and Orel Hershiser. Going to be an uphill climb tonight.
It is. Second half of this game, the Dodgers have to win. The St. Louis Cardinals have won the first half, that's for sure. And Mike Leake has been dominant. So you're not only trying to catch up, but you're trying to catch up against the best ERA in the National League.
Yeah, with these 5 shutout innings in this one, the Cardinals, even though they've lost 5 of 6, their starting staff during that stretch has an ERA below 1.5. How do you have a starting staff with an ERA below 1.5 and lose 5 of 6? Dexter Fowler looks at strike 1 from Ross Stripling.
Got to be the offense, and it's got to be the guys prior to your closer start to give up some runs. And it is a little bit of a rickety bridge to get to the end of the game for the Cardinals once the starters leave. But their bats have been silent. That stat you mentioned about the first inning and what they are, was it 1 for 36?
Yeah, now 1 for their last 39 in the first.
Chris Taylor contributed to that with his great catch in center field.
To rob this man. Tries to lay off. Does. 2-1. So there were 2 big signings in the offseason for St. Louis. Dexter Fowler was one, 5 years, $82.5 million. Brett Cecil was the other. They signed him to a big contract as well, and he's been awful out of the St. Louis bullpen. 2-2. I mean, you sign a guy to big money out of the bullpen, and I'm trying to find the exact details of that deal. 4 years, $30 million. You don't just expect him to contribute, you expect him to dominate.
Yeah, you sure do. And you expect him to be pretty much a proven quantity, which he was, and somebody that can really get the job done consistently, be one of your leaders.
Fowler's not been very good either. Now he's fighting through an 0 for 19 run and an on-base percentage that about 100 points lower than it was when he was an all-star last year in Chicago. Strikes out swinging, make it 0 for 20. Baseball is great. Baseball with fireworks is even better. You can enjoy watching fireworks from the field after every Friday night Dodger game, presented by Denny's. May 26th, the Pyro Show celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Beatles album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/promotions.
It's 20 years ago today, Sgt. Pepper taught the band to play.
Well done. I can't keep up with you on Beatles lines. I'm not even going to try.
I just hope I got it right.
I'm not going to be the one to correct you on it. Until Mike Levy gets in my ear and tells me to.
He is kind of tough.
Piscotty grounds one off of the mound to short. There's Corey Seager. 2 out.
First baseman Matt Carpenter.
Chuck Peterson, Dave Roberts said he'll do his best to avoid using him. Stiff neck, strained neck after that collision with Puig. Dave said after the game he looked like somebody that had gotten in a bad car accident with those cuts on his forehead. Big curve, strike 1. And 2. Match up of a couple of guys from Dallas Fort Worth. Carpenter still spends his off seasons there, works out at his alma mater TCU. She lives just by the campus and drives a golf cart back and forth between home and the facility. Ripped on the ground to second. Logan Forsythe, who's playing third tonight, comfortable over there making the play in the shift to complete a 1-2-3 inning. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Stan the Man and Vin. You know, Brian Hagan, our great statistician up here, gave us a note on Stan Musial. At home in his career, 1,815 hits. On the road in his career, 1,815 hits. Yasiel Puig starts the sixth by looking at a strike.
Appreciates all the paying customers, home and away.
Right.
Let them. You heard about me, so when you come out to the ballpark when I'm on the road, I'll give you the same show.
It's outside on Puig, 1-1. He was at a speaking engagement in the 1980s. Musial was. Somebody asked him, how do you think you would fare in today's game? And he said, well, I don't know, I'd put up the same numbers at this age, but I think I'd still do pretty well. Puig pokes one that will twist foul. At that point, had been removed from the game for decades.
Yeah.
Yasiel grounded out his first time. A 111-mile-per-hour ground out that ricocheted off the third baseman Jerko. Was picked up by Diaz at short. And Puig was thrown out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Another hard hit bouncer. Jerko moves to his left to get it and gets Puig. 1 out.
Yasiel got a cutter right there. Most of the time, Leake has been throwing the 2-seamer, but he was choosing very appropriate times to cut the ball away from the right-handed hitters.
Kike Hernandez sitting in the pitcher's spot and having a word or two with Yadier Molina, his old teammate and Team Puerto Rico during the World Baseball Classic. Line to left. Grichuk hardly has to move. 1 pitch to get the second out. And back to the top of the order. But Cardinals pitching doing a number on Dodger hitting in this series. They've been the top offense in baseball over the last month or so. But in almost 19 innings in this series now, the Dodgers have managed only 5 hits.
Well, you mentioned in this tough streak the Cardinals have been going through, the starting pitchers have been outstanding. What, an ERA below 1.5 was it?
Yeah.
Leake adding to that.
A 1.28 starters ERA during a stretch where they've gone 1-5. Forsythe 0 for 2. Ball 1.
Mr. Leake on the mound has not only been effective in getting ahead hitters when he's gotten behind hitters, which has been 13 of the 16 coming into this inning, but he's retired 14 of them. Only 1 fly ball, those hitters. Getting the ball hit on the ground, really just pounded into the ground.
Two and 2. Straight from college baseball to the majors. One of the few guys that's ever done that. Drafted in the summer of 2009. Didn't play any minor league games that year. Debuted in the majors the next spring. To the hole at short. Aledmys Diaz circles around it and throws Forsythe out to finish off a 1-2-3 6th inning. Brought to you by 76. One more with these Cardinals, and then the weekend series with the Cubs. We'll have it on Friday and Sunday. The Saturday game exclusively on Baseball Night in America on Fox. Joe Davis, Or Hershiser, Lana Rizzo, and Kike Hernandez now at third base. After pinch hitting, Logan Forsythe comes out. Sergio Romo on for Ross Stripling.
Sergio really just trying to find himself right now to gain the confidence of Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt. Really happy to put the Dodger uniform on at the beginning of the season, spring training. Really good teammate, fun to be around, but it hasn't been that much fun for him on the mound this year so far.
ERA of 7.5. He's allowed a run in 3 of his last 4 outings. Middle third of the order, and he gets a swinging strike from Jed Jerko. He's got all these guys old opponents in the West. Romo being with the Giants and Jerko formerly with the Padres. One and one. Fastball, 1-2.
Sergio's issue has really been getting people to chase the slider away. It hasn't been always as competitive as he would like. Once it starts to break, he wants that to happen late, and once it starts to break, he wants it to look like it's a strike.
That's what he does, but Jerko takes it and the count evens.
And he is at a point in his career where the slider is not thrown quite as hard as it used to be, and it's not quite as sharp, so he has to be more accurate with it to be effective.
Off the end of the bat to Gonzalez at first. Feeds Romo for the first out of the inning.
Really good sequence right there. I like the fact that he's using his fastball a little bit more, because as he has the reputation of being slider man, that fastball will seem like it's harder than it is at 84, 85 miles an hour because of the slider.
Molina running out of chances to extend this 12-game hitting streak. And out of chances to keep his perfect May alive when it comes to reaching base. He's done so in every game this month. That'll get to the seats. A souvenir for strike one.
Longest active hitting streak going right now, and it's not that much to be proud of at 12, but I'd like to keep it going if you were him.
Changeup.
Yeah. Pretty good movement. Started it low and on the plate, but it's got to be up a little higher. It's nice to see that he's pulling the trigger on it.
And a fastball, and he falls behind Molina. 2 balls, 1 strike.
The league will tell you when you need to make adjustments, and I think the league has sounded, and I think Sergio has heard them, and so we're seeing some different pitches other than just predominantly sliders from him. You're seeing the fastball used on both sides of the plate. You're seeing him experiment with the changeup.
Ten-year big leaguer pitches a 2-1, and Molina drills one to left field and deep. Sends Bellinger back. Track, wall, gone. Yadier Molina hits his 4th home run of the season, and the Cardinals lead 6-0. Hitting streak extended to 13 in loud fashion.
Well, let's take a look at the Carl's Cam replay right here, and it's a little cutter or slider that doesn't break too much. And a hanging slider is like a BP fastball. They're real easy to square up. They're just kind of spinning right there, and he backspins it out of here. It's the sound that Sergio doesn't want to hear, is that crack of the bat that loud.
Aledmys Diaz looks at a slider for the strike. And so Romo has now allowed a home run in 3 of his last 5 outings. 3 of his last 4 outings, actually. Diaz chases, no balls, 2 strikes. Aledmys has reached all 3 times, 2 walks and a double. Starting to get it going here in May after a slow start. Flips it foul. You also saw some of his improved defense last inning, circling around that ball in the hole to finish off a 1-2-3 frame for Mike Leake. Early on last year, especially when he broke in and mentioned earlier won the job as a surprise because of the injuries. There's some nerves there for him. And then it kind of snowballed on him. Reputation quickly becomes you're not a very good fielder. Self-fulfilling prophecy starts to work. He improved as last year went on, and he's been pretty darn good this year defensively. That ball's hit well to left. Bellinger started back, now comes on. Sounded better than it actually was. 2 out.
You can get fooled up here just like an outfielder. Those full swings that you don't know which way to break. Cody got fooled a little bit. We got fooled up here visually with the full swing off the end, though.
Two gone for Grichuk. Strike 1 on a change.
Romo's thrown 3 or 4 of those here and finding the range with one right there.
Oh, 2.
Hard to feel like this is a good outing with the Molina home run. Sergio trying to find some things that he can build on. Strikeout here make him feel a little bit better getting to the dugout.
Little cue shot. Romo cuts it off and feeds Gonzalez. That does it for the Cardinals in the 7th. But Yadier Molina hits a home run against Romo, and we stretch in a 6-0 game. Summary is brought to you by Morongo Casino. Colton Wong with a 2-run single against Rich Hill in the second inning, as Corey Seager drives a ball into the right center field gap here to open the bottom of the 7th. And he's got a double to open the frame. Corey said, I don't want anything to do with your game summary. And the first pitch from Mike Leake deposited a 2-bagger into right center.
Well, if this was a sprint race, the umpires, it'd be a false start. They started this inning too early. I was looking at the clock. It said 10 seconds. Corey Seager said, well, he's going to throw the ball. I don't care what the time says. I got to hit it.
So I'll just give it to you verbally. The 2 runs there in the second on the Wong base hit. They added 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th, and that's where we stand now, 6-0. Now Osmani Grandal takes ball 1 from Leake. That is only the 3rd Dodger hit against the right-hander. Bellinger a single, Gonzalez a double, and now Seager a double. Almost hits him, 2-0. Only 81 pitches for Leake. Top pitcher in the National League with an ERA at 1.82 at the moment. You would feel much better if you could get into that St. Louis bullpen. Big bouncer over the mound to short. Diaz throws Grandal out. Seager to 3rd, and 1 away.
Number 35.
Those 8 quality starts that Mike Leake has. He's gone over 100 pitches 3 times. It topped out at 104, so that pitch count at 82. Got plenty of bullets left for Mike Matheny to avoid pretty much the whole bullpen, other than maybe the closer.
Bellinger unloads on a fly ball to right, but he got under this one. Seager will tag as Piscotty catches. And the Dodgers have their first run of the night on a sacrifice fly from Cody Bellinger.
It's time to take it slow-mo with Kona. Well, Brewing Company. Not a lot to cheer for tonight for the Dodgers, but Cody Bellinger just barely getting under this one. The positive thing is it turns into a run. Cody would like to get a little bit more of it.
Strike 1 on Adrian. 25th run batted in for Cody Bellinger to lead the team. And he got here 3 weeks into the season. Softly hit, Colton Wong. Dodgers get 1, but only 1 here in the 7th. On to the 8th in a 6-1 game. Time now for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Break up the Rockies. Won 8 of 10 now. Lead the Dodgers by 3 games in the division. Break up the Diamondbacks. They've won 8 of 9 as they sweep the White Sox. And a full game ahead of the Dodgers at this point in the National League West. 3 of the top 4 records in the National League belong to teams in the West. Eibner's in the game in left field. That pumps Bellinger from left to first as Gonzalez comes out. And Chris Hatcher comes in.
Well, Chris Hatcher, like Sergio Romo, just trying to find it. That 4.09 ERA is not all of it. Trying to get his inherited runners down, which he has none here, but still tremendous potential in this right arm on the mound.
Facing 8-9-1. It's Colton Wong to lead it off. And Wong turns on a pitch. Line to Puig, who makes the catch. 1 out on 1 pitch.
6-1, 8th inning. Dodgers down. And if you look around the defense, you still see Chris Taylor in center field when there's other center fielders on the field. Kike Hernandez plays center field an awful lot, could go out there, but he's at third base. Chris Taylor can play third base. Brett Eibner can play center field. He goes to left, not to move Chris there. And
League digs out a fly ball to left center field. Here comes Eibner to make a running catch. 2 pitches and 2 outs.
I think the defensive alignment tells you a lot about Dave Roberts' philosophy on what he wants to do with Chris Taylor. That create some more flexibility. Make sure that he can play the outfield. Give him the reps out there. And it just makes the whole roster more and more flexible to get him into the lineup.
Back to the top, and Dexter Fowler at 0 for 4 is now 0 for his last 20. Similar to how he started this season. Over the first several weeks, he didn't have a home run, didn't have an RBI. He's hitting around 120. And then in a 2-1 win against Garrett Cole and the Pirates, Fowler hit a pair of solo home runs and for a while took off. But cold again here as we work towards, the 50 game mark. This is game 43 for St. Louis. It's game 47 for the Dodgers.
The season's moving fast.
It is. Time flies when you're having fun, Oral.
Yeah.
1-2.
The deeper we get into the season, the more legitimate you make a case for the Rockies. You make a case for the Diamondbacks being able to stay into this. Especially if we get to All-Star break and the top 3 teams in the National League West are bunched there.
It's a little bit like the Central 2 years ago. Remember where the Cardinals won the division. The Cubs and the Pirates were the 2 wild cards, but those were the 3 best records in the National League, all in the Central. Count goes full.
Washington, with their 27 wins, only has 44 games played. Must have had some weather.
Yeah, just like the Cardinals. It's 43. Fowler walks to keep this 8th inning alive.
Right fielder number 55, Stephen Piscotty.
Makes it even more impressive what Bryce Harper's doing, leading the league with 14 home runs. Hasn't got a full amount of at-bats yet. Catch everybody else and be on top.
Stephen Piscotty taking a ball. You were talking about the Rockies looking like they're probably here to stay at the top of the division, becoming more and more likely that maybe the Diamondbacks are too. Fangraphs does playoff projections, percentage chance that a team goes to the playoffs. Start of the year, they had the Diamondbacks with an 8% chance to be a playoff team. Right now, 56% chance that they make the postseason. Now that could be as one of the wild cards.
Still.
Yeah, they have the Rockies at 61%.
Both of them better than a coin flip. What do they have the Dodgers at?
98.4.
Wow. In third place right now.
Yep. 2-1.
And moving into the toughest part of their schedule. I can't get into the calculation of how they figure that out.
Giants started the year, according to Fangraphs, 66% chance of being a playoff team. They're down to 11%. San Diego started the year with a 0% chance, and they currently sit at 0% chance. 2-2.
They've played accurately.
Yeah. Here, look at this graph. Showing Oral a graph in here. It has a straight line for San Diego's playoff percentages.
It looks like it's the bottom of the graph.
Right. Started at 0, still at 0. A rebuilding project down there in San Diego. Hatcher to Piscotty with a 2-2 and a pop fly back and out of play. Flip over to the Central. Take a look at the Cardinals. They started the year with a 46% chance. It's at 48 right now. They had a dip as they started out poorly, then peaked and have come back down some. Even with the Brewers in first place right now, only giving them a 7% chance of being a playoff team.
Is there any thumbnail there to say how they're predicting this?
You know, I don't know exactly what goes into it, but it's the same kind of projection systems they use to give player projections going into the year. There are different websites that have different equations for it. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with past performance.
Has to. And who's currently probably healthy or hurt. And what's the projection on them becoming healthy?
Called hard off of Yasmani, still 2-2. Yeah, I mostly look at it just as kind of a fun thing to glance at. I don't know that there's much to be learned from it. But you know what? If you draw a little bit of enjoyment out of it, part of how you look at the game, part of how you enjoy the game, then so be it.
Well, it definitely kind of tells you about strength of rosters. That guys usually come back to their watermark, and they're probably starting there with most of everybody's water level and figuring that they're going to get there. They probably depreciate stats depending on age. They probably project other guys, younger guys that are growing into the game and have seen that kind of thing happen. They'll get better. I mean, just on the Dodgers, think about it. Everyone was waiting for Julio to get here and thinking that was going to save the rotation. Well, he's had a couple rough starts and other starters are healthy and ready to go, and he's back in AAA.
It's a little pop-up, Bellinger and Utley.
And nobody thought Cody Bellinger would be doing what he's doing, leading the team in RBIs.
Down to the bottom of the 8th inning and a 6-1 game. Chris Taylor leads off the bottom of the 8th for the Dodgers. Mike Leake back at it. And Taylor slashes the first pitch that he sees into center for a base hit. Let's go down to Alana Rizzo.
Time to start the rally. This has been a rough one so far. Coming up next, Access Sportsnet Dodgers brought to you by Nissan. John, Nomar, and Ned talk about the rough start for Rich Hill. 7 walks, a career high for him, 5 earned runs so far, and what the offense didn't do so far against Mike Leake, guys.
4 hits against Mike Leake. Only run coming last inning when Corey Seager started the inning with a double and eventually scored on a Bellinger sac fly.
I'd like to hear Nomar's take on how to hit somebody with this good a sinker like Mike Leake. I know the first thing he would say is make him get the ball up, but what if he's not getting the ball up? Do you change your stance a little bit? Do you go down there and dig it out, knowing if it's going to be a strike at the knees? Because he has pitched wonderfully, and even the Dodgers, when they have a feeling like the two-seamer's coming, they're not able to get it in the air.
The 0-1. Utley swings and misses, and it's 0-2. I remember talking to Nomar about that down in San Diego. Dodgers were seeing a couple of sinker ballers, and you hit the nail on the head. And it's basically if they stay down and they're getting that as a called strike down, it's probably going to be a long night.
That's what it's been here for sure.
Got his hands in on it, but hooked it to second and caught by Wong. Planning an overnight trip, be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance tomorrow. And the Dodgers and Cardinals play the finale in this series and get a Dodger branded weekender bag courtesy of Security Benefit. Go to Dodgers.com/promotion. Still some tickets available for that. Kenta Maeda for the Dodgers, Michael Wacha for the Cardinals. Yasiel with the 2 groundouts today, 2 for his last 20. Strike 1.
You've talked a lot about the defensive support for Mike Leake this year compared to last year. And the other improvement really, other than just balls in play, is his secondary stuff. He's not making mistakes with it. Last year, the league hit over 500 on his slider. They hit over 300, right around 300 on his changeup. And he's had much better sequencing with the cutter and the slider. But when the defense behind you is good, or at least average, it frees you up to just keep throwing that two-seamer, knowing that, you know, if a ground ball gets through, next one will be at somebody and they'll turn me a double play. I can get out of the inning. It's much more comforting to let the ball go and trust your pitches.
Generous outside corner, 1-2.
Ground ball pitcher with not very good infield defense is like having your money in a 3-walled safe. Sooner or later, they find a way to get in.
I was going to say, it doesn't sound real secure.
No, it's not. And it's not a very secure feeling.
Left one over. Puig hit it foul. You know, the one common theme with all these Cardinals pitchers, the guy catching them, Yadier Molina.
"34 years old now, and he's always had a real knack for the game."
Fly to deep center. Dexter Fowler, plenty of room for out number 2. How much credit can a catcher deservedly take for an entire staff being good?
I think a lot. I really do. There's so much back there that you can rub rough edges off of a pitching staff, off of individual pitchers. He saves innings with his arm. He shuts down the running game. He's very intelligent with what pitches he calls, the intensity, the location of the targets. If your pitching staff, all they have to do is follow the fingers and follow the glove, and it just frees up their mind to just think about just themselves compared to the whole game. And he dictates with his body language the philosophy of the pitch, not just the pitch that's called.
Kike down 0-2.
The subtleness of where he puts his glove, the subtleness of the body language when he moves to the area where he wants the ball, the intensity of the sign. It's you know, they say communication is 80% tone, right, or body language. It's not what you say. And think about that as a catcher. There's a lot of communication going on back there without talking.
Turner Warden talking about Mike Leake and what's made him so tough this year. One of the first things he brought up was Molina. And he said, you know, when you're a hitter, a lot of times you think about the pitcher you're facing. You try to think a step ahead of him. But because Molina's the one walking these pitchers through it, Turner said, good luck trying to be a step ahead of the pitcher, because Molina's usually 2 steps beyond that. Sky high into short center. Fowler's there, and the Dodgers are finished in the 8th inning. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the new guacamole and bacon chicken sandwich only at Jack in the Box. Mike Leake getting some hugs and handshakes in that dugout. Probably finished after 8 innings, allowing just 1 run on 4 hits.
Absolutely fantastic outing. Very efficient. Great movement, great location, and he is a pitch maker right now. And he follows Yadier Molina. And he's able to just relax. And he's a loosey-goosey pitcher. You watch his mechanics and the way the arm slings through there, you can see why he can spin the ball. Kind of loose personality-wise.
I was going to say. Carpenter swings and misses at a Hatcher fastball, and it's 0-2.
Another quality start. 9
for 9, yeah. Only guy in baseball that's done that.
On his way to the All-Star game, he keeps it up.
What do you think about Alex Wood's chances to be an All-Star?
I don't think he's an outside candidate. I mean, Clayton Kershaw for sure is right at the top. Kenley Jansen's right there at the top. And if all of a sudden, because the rules and every organization has to be represented, all of a sudden he could get bumped off. But if he stays on this pace, he's throwing the ball, one of the best guys in the big leagues.
Takes it on Friday night, the opener against the Cubs, who won again tonight against San Francisco. Cubs at 24-21 now. 2-2 on Carpenter, leading off the 9th. Milwaukee got beat by Toronto. So the Cardinals are 3 outs away from moving within a half game of first place. Cubs are already there. That's dug out. Bellinger knocks it down, but it gets by him. And Carpenter is aboard to open the 9th inning. Thing was smoked off one bounce. Bellinger couldn't squeeze it.
Third baseman number 3, Jeff Jerko.
Right down the line, and usually you're going to get a low hop when a ball's hit that hard, but this ball kind of bounces up. You see that bounce. You don't usually see that one. Cody had the right read that normally happens, but that was not normal. What happens there on that first base line with everybody running to first base by the end of the game? There's a lot of little craters, and that might have hit one little launching pad.
Ball 1 on Jed Jerko. Well, the power numbers for Jerko over the last year plus, so in his time in St. Louis, not a huge surprise. Always been a powerful guy. Bigger surprise this year is the batting average. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. He's hitting .326. His career average entering the year 238. So we're 2 months into the season, and he's a full 100 points better than his career mark. Said that he had kind of forgotten what a good approach looked like. Gotten away from thinking smartly at the plate. Got back to using the whole field this year, and it's showing up in those numbers. And he's not sacrificed power. Moved him into the cleanup role at the end of April. Chopped by third and foul. It's 2-2. Born and raised in Morgantown, West Virginia. Undrafted at a high school there, but then was taken in the second round by the Padres. Found him in a few years at WVU. Really blossomed. Big East Player of the Year during his time there. Base hit to right. Jerko beats the shift. And 2 on with nobody out.
Catcher number 4, Yadier Molina.
Time now for our Arco top tier play of the game, brought to you by Arco. It's Molina's home run against Sergio Romo to extend his hitting streak to a big league best 13 games as far as the active streaks go.
Picked on a little hanging slider. Going to see a little more velocity than that with Chris Hatcher on the mound.
Chasing Justin Turner for the longest hitting streak in the National League this year. Turner's was 16. Longest in the majors, Gene Segura, Mike Trout both have 17 gamers in the AL. Strike 1. Boy, Mike Trout somehow is putting together another career year. Down in Anaheim. Didn't know it was possible to get much better than he already was. Angels enter the night 2 games above 500, but problem for them and everybody else in the West is that Houston, by far the best team in the American League so far. A 7-game lead. It'll pop up. Corey Seager with the infield fly rule in effect has it. 1 out.
Shortstop number 36, Aledmys Diaz.
2 on with 1 out, and it's Diaz. I mentioned Diaz defecting from Cuba in 2012. He said that it only took him about 2 years before he was entirely comfortable with English. He worked hard at learning it and heard it plenty of it growing up in Cuba. His father, an academic, had traveled around the world for his job and was often speaking English, so he picked up on some secondhand there. And then his biggest trick for learning it once he got to the States, watching the Ellen Show. Another pop up towards the seats. This is strike one.
Then he learned how to dance between the aisles too.
Right.
As you move through the crowd, and probably at his appearances, he probably turns some music on and starts dancing. I think Andrew McCutcheon asked his wife to marry him.
You're right.
On the Ellen DeGeneres show.
1-2.
I'm glad you're up on Ellen. You can say I'm right away. That was quick.
Or am I up on Andrew McCutcheon?
Okay.
Well, my wife likes the Ellen Show. It's hard not to. I mean, if you have any kind of sense of humor at all, if you like to smile, it's hard not to like the Ellen Show.
My wife likes the Ellen DeGeneres slot machine in Vegas.
Oh.
She goes, oh, let me play some Ellen. I have to give her a $20 bill. She goes over and plays Ellen. It's penny slots, fortunately.
Diaz fouls it off. Still 1-2. That sometimes can produce smiles, other times frowns.
Yeah, mostly frowns. Chris Hatcher just trying to get the Dodgers in the dugout down by 5. Their Cardinals are up by the manager's run, which means they're got that 5th one where a grand slam can't tie it. That's when managers feel a lot more comfortable about their lead.
Never heard it referred to as such. 5-run lead, manager's run.
Yeah, you know, let's get that 5th one. Yeah. You'll hear that in the dugout. So I guess I just labeled it that way.
You just coined it now.
Yeah, huh. It's the manager's run.
I like it. Baseball history.
6-1 in the 9th. you go
for phrases.
Yeah.
Diaz lines it to Utley, who will hold on to it. 2 out. This one had a bad feeling to it right from the start. Well, after Rich Hill worked a 1-2-3 first inning, then in the second he walked 4 in that inning. Cardinals got 2. Dodgers couldn't gain any steam against Mike Leake. And then St. Louis added 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th. Dodgers getting their lone run in the bottom of the 7th inning on a Bellinger sac fly. Great thing about this game is there's always another one coming. 7:10 tomorrow night. Dodgers sending Kenta Maeda to the hill to face off with Michael Wacha of the Cardinals. Right now, looks like that will likely be a rubber match. Barring a bottom of the 9th rally from the Dodgers. Strike 1 on Randall Grichuk. We talked about the Cardinals having lost 3 13-inning games over their last 5. What a way to start a stretch where you play 47 times in 48 days. Hatcher's 0-1. Fastball caught on, missed, and it's 0-2.
Dodgers are 9-5 in last game of series, so a little bit of an advantage for them tomorrow. And they're also, after this loss, if this is what it turns out to be, they'll be 17-8 here at Dodger Stadium, one of the better home records in baseball.
Hatcher gets Grichuk swinging and finishes the Cardinals off in the ninth. On to the bottom half, 6-1. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Land Rover, above and beyond. Back at Dodger Stadium, Tyler Lyons back in the big leagues after his second stint on the disabled list already this year. Dealt with injuries over the last year or so. He had a knee injury that required surgery last year, ended his season, and then started this year on the DL, still coming back from that knee injury before straining his lat midway through this season and finding himself on the shelf again, but back tonight.
Left-hander that is really going to try and shut these Dodgers down for the Cardinals, but of course for himself right now to try and get back on the beam and get comfortable out there on the mound. Brett Eibner going to get in the way of that.
Brett continues to work in the bullpen on side sessions for the Dodgers. He has plans to throw another session tomorrow. That will be his fourth. So that's significant. 4 bullpen sessions for a position player who was a closer at Arkansas.
1 or 2 you think, oh, there's just a little glance there and he can really throw hard and maybe an emergency situation. And they continue to work with him. Maybe there's an opportunity down the road there.
It definitely gives you some unique roster flexibility in a day and age where it seems like everybody wants to carry an extra pitcher. In this case, if he could be an emergency guy, then you kind of would carry an extra pitcher without actually having to do so, because he's still going to give you a nice bat off of the bench and some spot starts as a power hitting outfielder.
It's very dangerous to all of a sudden just take a regular player and put him on a slant to throw, because when you're normally throwing on level ground, your body stabilizes when your front foot lands and your body is with your legs, but when you're throwing down a hill, your body actually is almost moving away from your body. So your stride and the weight is going a completely different direction. It puts more strain on your arm. You have to get used to that strain. That's why pitchers are built up in spring training. They move from their flat ground work, their long toss onto the hill, and they don't go full blast down the hill right away. Get used to throwing down that hill. It's a different kind of stretch on your shoulder and your elbow and your arm.
2 balls, 2 strikes. I can file this one under things I thought I'd never see. Oral Hershiser discussing changeup grips with Brett Eibner at BP today.
How hard he throws is not a question. He can bring it in the mid-90s.
Down swinging on a pitch from Lyons here for the first out of the ninth.
Shortstop, number 5, Corey Seager.
Don't get me in trouble with Rick Honeycutt, okay? I'm talking to outfielders about change-up grips.
Corey Seager has one of the Dodgers' 4 hits tonight and scored their only run after he doubled in the 7th. Turns this one around in the air to center. Fowler hardly has to move, and the Dodgers down to their final out. All Cardinals in this one behind Mike Leake. Taking advantage of Rich Hill's struggles in this one. They get those 5 runs against him. Added 1 in the 7th. And they're just about set to even this series at a game apiece and make tomorrow's matchup of Maeda and Waka the rubber match. Austin Barnes with the bases empty and 2 gone. Strike 1. To the rubber match of this series, but 4 more between the teams coming next week in St. Louis. Day game Monday. Couple of night games and then a day game on getaway day Thursday. Bouncing ball to Aledmys Diaz and dug out by Carpenter on the back end to bring the night to a close.
Well, it sets up the rubber game of the match tomorrow, and it's all been about how does your starting pitcher go. Clayton Kershaw set up game 1. Mike Leake set up game 2 for the Cards.
Our Lexus player of the game. And it is Mike Leake. Those 8 innings giving up just the 1 run. 9 starts for him this year. 9 quality starts for Mike Leake. That means at least 6 innings and 3 or fewer runs allowed. And he moves back into the National League ERA lead, passing Clayton Kershaw. Same place, same time tomorrow. Kenta Maeda for the Dodgers. Michael Waka for the Cardinals. For Orel Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and the rest of our crew. Joe Davis saying good night from Dodger Stadium. Stay tuned for Access Sports Now, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers.
Get out of here early.